Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast. This week, the topic is with or for rather than to. The idea behind this podcast episode really came from my recent rereading of a fantastic book by the Arbinger Institute. The title of this book is Leadership and Self-Deception. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend that you pick it up and read it. It's actually one of the more transformative books I've ever read in terms of leadership thought and perspective and how we approach our communication and interaction with other people. So highly recommend the book Leadership and Self-Deception. It came out originally in the year 2000, so it's not a new book, and many of you may actually have read it. If you have, hopefully what I talk about today will remind you of some of the key concepts in the book. If you haven't read the book, hopefully what I'm going to talk about will encourage you to go get the book and read it. So, brief synopsis of the key concepts of the book. And in the short time I have in this podcast episode, I can't fully develop all of the key ideas and completely convey all the subtlety in the book. That's why I suggest if you haven't read it that you do. The general idea, though, is this concept of considering people as people or people as objects. And without going into too much detail about that, I'm guessing that you probably get the immediate feeling, the immediate observation or perspective that when we view other people as objects, things don't tend to go very well in our interactions with them. And if we can find ways or keep ourselves focused on the idea that other people are people rather than objects, we're probably going to do a better job. One key point made in the book is that people tend to respond more to how we're being towards them, meaning how we're thinking about them, perceiving them, then thinking about them, feeling toward them, than the things we actually say and do. Now, the concept to fully understand it is actually quite deep and takes a little bit of thinking to wrestle with all the ins and outs of it. So I won't dig into that. I'll just leave it with this idea. Anything we can do to help us stay in a frame of mind or a mindset of seeing, interacting, and working with people in a way that keeps us in a perspective of working with people rather than working with objects is going to help us in our leadership communication. We're going to be more effective, more influential. And that is really the point of this podcast, how to communicate in ways that help us gain greater influence and better convey the ideas, thoughts, feelings we have so that others can understand us better and we can understand them better. Now, with that in mind, the topic I said when I started was with or for rather than to. And the idea struck me that there's a subtle clue in how we talk about our conversations or interactions with other people. For example, if I say, I look forward to speaking to you, that really reveals that I'm basically seeing you as an object. Now, I did a little bit of reading today about the preposition to, and here's a direct quote from the Grammarly blog. That's Grammarly.com. Well, here's a sentence about the word to, the TO version. To is a preposition and a versatile little word that can be used to say many things. You can use it to indicate a goal or direction of movement, as well as a place of arrival. If you listen to that carefully, to is used basically to refer to objects, goals, places where we arrive, things we own, that sort of thing. And so when we use to refer to a person, it can subtly drive us towards seeing that person as an object. Here's what I mean by that. If I say, I look forward to speaking to you, that puts my mind in a frame of viewing you as an object to which I must deliver a message. If I replace that instead with, I look forward to speaking with you, then that hopefully puts me in a mindset or a frame of perspective that reminds me that you are a human being with whom I will plan to interact. So it's less about speaking to you and delivering my message to you. It's more about speaking with you so we can exchange information. It's probably not a utopian perfect solution to the problem of viewing people as objects. It is a little trick that I think you can use to help you keep yourself in the right frame of mind. Here's another example. Let's say I have a sales presentation or something of that nature. I have information that I need to share with another person or group of people so that we can come to some conclusion together, be it purchasing a product or buying an idea or implementing a project. It's all sort of the same idea. Well, when I say I want to present to them, it's a body of objects or an object that I'm giving information to. Different if I say I have information to share with them, or I have a discussion that I like to have with them because I think this information might be beneficial for them. And the idea is to find ways to basically trick myself into remembering that other people are not objects. And I know there's a strong tendency to kind of cast this idea aside and think, well, I don't think of other people as objects. And I think if you read the book Leadership and Self-Deception, you'll find that there are some subtle ways that actually you do. I was reminded again after reading the book, I think this might have been the third time I've read it, reminded again of the subtle ways that thinking about people as objects creeps into the way you perceive and interact with others. And what I'm suggesting is anything you can do to adjust your own perspective rather than trying to change them, which, by the way, is a clue in the book that if you're trying to change other people or change their behavior, they have just become an object to you. What can I do to myself? What can I do in my own thinking to help me remember that the other people in my life, the people on my team, my coworkers, my colleagues, my customers, they are people who have wants, needs, and desires equal to my own. Not higher than mine, not lower than mine, equal to my own. And how can I have this interaction with this person so that both of our wants, needs, and desires can be respected? One little way I think you can remind yourself to stay in that frame of mind is to think about interacting with people, about communicating with people, sharing information with people rather than talking to people, about trying to help people with business information or sales information or product information rather than selling to them, with doing things for people. I want to help this person achieve something with the information I share with them, or the business I put in front of them, or the product information I put in front of them, or the project goal I put in front of them, whatever it happens to be. I want to come alongside this person and do this with them or for them rather than to them. So if you can remind yourself to keep in the mindset of with or for people rather than to people, you can talk like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.